Do you ever scroll through the photos in your phone and occasionally just see one that breaks your heart? I do. I have a couple. And today I'd like to talk about the two most heartbreaking photos that I see in my phone. The first of them, oddly, is from my wedding day. It's a photo of me and my bride and our whole wedding party, and we're all gathered together and lined up, and what should be a photo of one of the happiest days of my life, and it is. It was the happiest day of my life. I'm so thankful. I love everyone who was there. Problem is, two of those people are no longer with us. In this photo, I see my best man, my buddy Jerry, on one side of me, and on the other side of me is one of my sisters-in-law, my sister Tara, who also passed away about a year and a half after our wedding. I love them both dearly, and this is the story of those photos. That photo and the other one I'll get to in a little bit. Jerry is a friend that I had known since grade school. As far as I know, we probably were in the same grade, I guess, from kindergarten, first grade on. I don't remember knowing him until maybe fourth grade, maybe third. So we would have been maybe 8 or 9 years old at the time. But when we were 10, we were both in 4-H together. And that's when I remember our friendship actually starting. We may have known each other from school, but when we were at the county fair, we both showed hogs together. I was a country boy. And so the other people who were in 4-H with me that I knew from school became the friends that I hung out with the most. It's a natural thing to do. Middle of summer break, you're at the county fair, you hang out with the people you know best. Jerry was a cool kid, great guy, and we hung out a lot. We didn't really hang out that much in school. Always friends, always friendly, but the fair and anything 4-H related, that's where we got together. Fast forward to freshman year of high school, and we were in our freshman algebra class together, first hour? I don't know, maybe not. Second hour? Whenever it was, doesn't matter. But we sat next to each other most of that year, and that's where we really became close buddies. We started hanging out outside of school. He was just a great guy. I'd grown up in a Christian home, going to church. He'd grown up in a Catholic home, which is Christian from a little different angle than where I had grown up. But during that time of his life, he was hanging out with some other guys who were from a different church than where he had grown up, and his faith was changing. And it was, we'll say, coming more in line with what I believed as well. And so we shared common faith, a love of some similar music, and a lot of other things. As freshman guys, we talked girls a lot. Surprise, surprise. So then, get to the summer, we get to the fair, we're hanging out more than ever. So great friends through high school, great friends after high school. His faith grows, mine grows, lots of things in common, many hours spent together hanging out. He gets married. I spent a lot of time at their home hanging out with him because I got along great with his wife as well. They were just great friends. They move. I go visit them about every other weekend, spend the weekend with them in their home, get to know his wife's family. They become like second family to me. We're just very close. He has kids. I'm there. I get to visit him in the hospital and see him. When his second daughter was born, it happened while I was laid off from work and I was visiting them. So I ended up spending 11 days at their house while he and his wife were in the hospital, and at the end of that 11 days, their second daughter was born. Very premature, health issues, a lot of concerns, but it was amazing to have been there with them through a scary time, wondering how things were going to go. I'm really thankful for the time we spent together there. His daughter grew up healthy, great, beautiful. Some tragedies happened. His wife left him and left him with the daughters. Again, I spent a lot of time with him. He and his in-laws moved. He ended up staying with them. They were very supportive, great family. So for many years, continued to visit them every chance I got. Fast forward to me getting married. He's my best man. At that point, we'd been friends for, 25 years, 30 years almost. I have a few friends that were similarly close, but just didn't have quite the same history. And he was the perfect best man. He was awesome. I was so thankful. My wife insisted we have a videographer for our wedding because we have a recording of his toast, as well as my sister-in-law giving the toast for my wife. It was an amazing day. Everything was perfect. So as I hinted at earlier when I mentioned Tara, this beautiful wedding day and this photo with Jerry in it, any of the photos I have with Jerry in them from our wedding day, great memories. 2 months after our wedding, he died from complications related to a brain tumor. It was 1 month after our wedding. He was actually at or in another wedding. He had a seizure. He got to the hospital. They did scans to find out what caused the seizure. They find a tumor. Time passes. They do a biopsy. They find what kind of tumor it is. It is the kind of thing he's not going to survive it. They can operate on it. They can remove some of it. They can extend his life a bit, but they tell him it's going to get him. It's a hard pill to swallow for him, I'm sure, as he has 2 little girls he was raising, an amazing family and friends, and wants to live like anybody else. At that point, he's 38, 39 years old. The news broke my heart, and I got to visit him a couple of times after the diagnosis. He did some amazing things. because he was an amazing guy. He made a series of videos for his daughters for those landmark occasions that would happen later on in their lives. He wanted to be there. He knew he wouldn't be, so he prepared messages to give them when those times came. I've never seen them, they're not for me, but I am sure they're amazing. He did a lot of other things to prepare as well. He had that surgery, removed as much of the tumor as they could. Surgery went well. I was away on a vacation for a week, starting about the day that he had the surgery. I got a text that everything had gone great and he would be home, recovering, healing up. At the end of that week, I was still on vacation. It was the day we were supposed to leave to head home. His girlfriend called and said, "You guys have to get to the hospital." We got the whole story on the way. He had gotten an infection at the site of the surgery. It had gotten into his brain, caused swelling, and by the time we got to the hospital, and probably well before that, he was essentially brain dead. They were just keeping his body alive with machines and giving people time to say goodbye. Probably the hardest day of my life. 2 months after the greatest day of my life. For the second part of this first photo is my sister-in-law, Tara. Now, she was one of the bridesmaids in our wedding and looked beautiful. We were so thankful she was there. She was in college at the time, dating a guy that we all liked. Things seemed to be going really well for them. About a year and a half, a little more after our wedding, she had been at a euchre tournament at our family's church and left to drive back home to her college. Wasn't too far, it's 20 minutes. She was on the phone with a friend, driving down the road, and going through an intersection, she got T-boned by another car. There's a whole story behind that, but it's not worth telling right now. The other car was doing over 100 miles an hour, blew through a red light across a divided highway, and bad luck. She was there, they hit the front of her car, ripped the entire front end off of her car, killed her instantly, and we lost her. When this happened, my wife and I were in bed, or going to bed, quite a ways away. We lived elsewhere at the time. We were about an hour away, and we got a call that there had been an accident. And at that time that we got the call, nobody even knew for sure what the status of Tara was. The police weren't sharing information yet. Family and friends were gathering at the crash site at a gas station. We packed enough clothes to go for the night, maybe a couple nights. We didn't have our kids yet, so it was pretty quick. Threw some stuff in a couple of bags, jumped in the car, and got on our way. Spent an hour scared because we didn't know what was going to be there when we got there. Kept hoping for a call that would say, "Oh, it's okay, she's all right." It didn't come. We got there, met with friends and family at the gas station, spent time there out in the cold because it was March. Eventually, the police gave us the news. She was gone. A couple hours earlier, she'd been at our church with the rest of the family, or with some of the family, and her boyfriend. Maybe the worst night of my life, maybe the second, I don't know. I don't like to make comparisons like that. Tragedy is not a competition. I know it was one of the worst nights of my wife's life, and because of that, it was one of mine. It was terrible for everybody in our family. So many friends, church family, community. The next week or so was a blur. I took time off work, helped compose an obituary and make funeral plans and memorial service plans, tried to console my wife and my family. And we celebrate her every year around her birthday. We get together and have a bit of a memorial activity every spring, remembering when she was taken from us. The last big family activity we had was a bowling outing, and so we do that every year. Because of this one photo that I found in my phone, shows our whole wedding party, but for some reason, the way the people were lined up, Jerry is on one side of me, and Tara is directly on the other. And I can't look at that photo without my heart breaking, but I still look at it because I still love them. Now, the second photo I want to talk about is very different because nobody in the photo has died. But the part that breaks my heart is actually about the life that they're living now. This photo is a picture of my son that is born with spina bifida. He is unable to use his legs because of it, and so he is going to spend much of his life restricted to a wheelchair. In this photo, he's at a playground. My other son is playing on one of the monkey bars, or I don't know what the name for it would really be, and that's great to see him playing, but as you can see in the photo, my son in the wheelchair is unable to get to the playground equipment because his wheelchair doesn't roll across those wood chips well enough for him to be able to do it. With an adult, we can push him across the wood chips. And even that's a struggle. We can do it. We can get him there. But what good is a playground that you can't use? He can't get to it. He can't climb on it. There's not a swing big enough for him, though there are such thing as wheelchair swings where a wheelchair can be wheeled in, latched down, and the whole device can swing. They're kind of cool. But this playground doesn't have one. And honestly, how long can you swing on a swing before you are kind of bored? Also, he can't latch himself into the swing and he can't push himself. So again, it's only fun if somebody somebody's with you to do it for you. This playground in the picture is actually at his school. This is what it would look like every day when he goes out to recess, except the playground would be full of kids that are having a good time and running around. He's limited to the sidewalk. Now, the staff of the school does what they can. They spend time with him. They talk to him. They don't let him just sit there left all by himself. And from what I hear, the other kids are actually very sweet, and there are kids who hang out with him. He's a sweet boy, seems to have lots of friends. He's not alone. He's not as alone as this picture might make it seem. But this picture still conveys something that breaks my heart. It conveys limitation, and it conveys loneliness. Two things I don't want him to have to experience in life. But through things that were beyond my control, he was born with a condition that comes with loneliness and limitation sometimes. I have thoughts about playgrounds and why there's not more playgrounds with handicap accessible equipment, surfaces that can be accessed for kids with crutches or wheelchairs. I can tell you there are very few. We live in a pretty good sized town, and there's almost nothing anywhere around this city. My understanding is there is a school in our town that has a good playground for children with physical disabilities because that's what that school deals with. But that school has to lock down their playground so that outsiders don't come in and damage it, causing their own students to be unable to use it. It's understandable. I get it. I'm not out demanding that people change or people fund things, but it affects my family, and I wish for better. I know about an hour from here, there's a town with a very nice playground that's very handicap accessible with activities that even my son can do in a wheelchair. I'm thankful, but it becomes impossible to go there during the winter or in any kind of bad weather. Can rarely go there during the school year. It'd have to be a weekend trip. My wife has made a point of taking him there during the summer a few times, and that's great. I love that they do that. I love that he gets to go, but I see him limited and left out enough that it breaks my heart, and this picture is a reminder of it. Now, I don't like making videos that are this sad. I promise most of them won't be like this, but I bet if you look through your photo roll, you'll see some things in there that break your heart too. I hope there's a lot of very happy memories, things that bring you incredible joy. I know I have lots of that in my phone too. Without getting too personal, I would love it if you look through your phone and you shared, if not the picture itself, share your story about the most heartbreaking photos in your phone, or maybe the happiest. I'd love to hear about them. Thanks for taking time to watch this.